Tucker Carlson has been a huge figure in American broadcasting for many, many years. And of course, now because of the internet, he's seen across pretty much the whole of the English-speaking world. He lost his job as the top-rated presenter at Fox News. He now does his thing on X, and he gets big audiences. And even his announcement that he was going to Moscow, he did a little video to say, I'm going to go and interview Vladimir Putin. Even that got 100 million views on X. Was he right to go? Well, our newspapers and many in America have been wall-to-wall saying it's a huge mistake. This proves he's Putin's puppet. He's said things in the past that are very critical about Ukraine. He doesn't want any American money going to Ukraine. He'll be used as a propaganda tool by Vladimir Putin. And those arguments are strong, and there are many, many of them. Equally, there are people that say, look, talk about journalism in Moscow, just look at the dozens of journalists that have disappeared or been killed over the course of the last few years. They are the arguments against Tucker Carlson going, but I actually think it's right that he goes, provided that he asks the right questions. Well, one American commentator who very much took the view that he should go was Candace Owens, and I spoke to her last night. Now, somebody whose brain is without doubt very, very agile, and he's been a great, huge TV fixture in America, is, of course, Tucker Carlson. Do you think Tucker is wise? Do you think he's wise going to Moscow and doing a sit-down with Putin?
He's incredibly wise, and he is also not just wise, he's brave. There obviously has been a lot of lies sold to us. You can just go back and look at what the mainstream media was saying on the first day that Russia invaded Ukraine. It's much of their emotional engineering. People didn't understand what was happening, but we were told that we just have to be okay with billions of dollars going overseas. And this is what I refer to as the political commentariat, where they're controlling your ideas, but you actually don't have access to true information. They're not telling you what the other president that's involved in this conflict is saying. If you dare to share that information, you're being called a Putin puppet. It's pointedly ridiculous. Yeah. We need more information. In America, we believe in this radical idea of free speech. And Tucker Carlson doing that interview, conducting it despite the fact that the NSA was spying on him, spying on his text messages, trying to prevent that from happening, seeing the way that they are reacting, reading news today that the EU is considering sanctioning Tucker Carlson regarding an interview that they have not even seen, is all you need to know that the majority of the news that you are watching is bought and paid for, and they work to serve the state. And Tucker Carlson has gotten around that, and every individual should watch this interview, not because you should agree with everything that Putin says, but because you should hear different sides and come to conclusions after researching what both sides are saying.
No, I agree with you. And, I understand the frustration in America with sending this money abroad. I understand the corruption of Ukraine. Of course I do. However, I will say to you, Candace, that if you were living in Poland right now or Western Ukraine, you might be a little bit frightened by what Putin's doing.
Of course. By the way, you would always be frightened if you live in any circumstance, where you have people that are having a war near your borders, right? We're frightened by the war that's happening on our border right now and being told that we shouldn't care about it because we should care more about Ukraine's borders. It's pointedly foolish, So to say that you want to hear what is the reason that we are funding this war does not also mean that you don't feel sympathetic towards Ukrainians or sympathetic towards any innocent civilians that are being impacted by war anywhere across the world. It says, you're telling me that I need to wake up in the morning and I need to go to work so that you can extract tax dollars from me to go overseas to be sent to Ukrainians, unaccounted tax dollars, because they always magically lose this accounting, the Pentagon. They have no idea where the money is going. We deserve an explanation, an honest explanation of what we are doing in Ukraine, because to say that we are not at war with Ukraine is simply untrue. We are fighting a proxy war with Russia. I want to hear all sides of the equation, and that does not remove my sympathies for how I feel about any person, Russian or Ukrainian, any innocent civilian who has been impacted by the conflict.
You're absolutely right. In a free democracy, we should hear all sides of the argument before we make up our minds on where we are.